What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and recently I've been getting a lot of questions at the channel asking me to put together a legendary skill build that you can use in obviously legendary content, but that absolutely shreds heroic content as well. Therefore, that's exactly what I wanted to do today. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. And remember, we are currently having a giveaway for an Xbox Series X. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on July 4th of this year. We are going to jump right into the build, my friends, and then at the end of the video, I'll go over a few tips to new and returning players, which should hopefully help you out anytime you're trying out a new build. Now, for this build specifically, we're using the Technician specialization for a bunch of reasons. First of all, having that equipped is going to give us that extra skill tier, which means that we can have one of our core attributes on one of these pieces be something besides skill, and here I chose a little bit of armor, and I'll go into why in a minute. But the other reason is due to the fact that with this equipped, you also have 12% extra damage to skill proxies, drones, and robotics, which really come in handy anytime you're playing legendary. My primary weapon for this build is the Harmony named rifle. Because of the talent perfectly in sync, hitting an enemy grants 20% skill damage for 5 seconds, using a non-shield skill or damaging an enemy with a skill grants 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds, and damage increases are doubled while both buffs are active at the same time. My secondary weapon for the build is the capacitor, which is an amazing AR. It has the talent capacitance, where shooting enemies builds stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5 skill damage. After 5 seconds, stacks decay 1 per second, but for each of your skill tier, you gain 7.5 weapon damage. Now, for those of you that may not have these weapons, at the end of the video, I'll go over a few options that you could try to use as well. Now, onto the gear itself, you can see I'm using 1 Wyvern, 2 Hannah U, 2 Empress International, and the Waveform holster. Starting off with the mask, it's the one piece of Wyvern we have equipped, so we get that extra 10% skill damage. I've chosen to re-roll the core attribute to armor for a little more survivability, and as far as the attributes go, this is the best version I have, so I had to roll with what I got. Moving on to the body armor, and this is the first of 2 pieces of the Empress International. We're using this one so we get that 10% skill health. Now, when it comes to the talent on the chest, you can see I'm running with Glass Cannon, where all damage you deal is amplified by 25%. However, all damage you take is amplified by 50%. Now, typically I will run with Kinetic Momentum. That happens to be one of my favorite skills in the game. However, a lot of you are saying try Glass Cannon, so I wanted to give it a shot. Another option you can now try in the game is the new Uzina body armor, the Closer, which gives you the talent Perfect Spotter, which increases total weapon and skill damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. Next, my friends, we have the holster, and I'm using the exotic Waveform because of the talent Alternating Current, which generates a stack of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second, capping at 10 stacks. After 10 seconds at the cap, the stacks transfer to your other skill. And once again, for those of you that may not have this exotic holster as yet, I will give you a few other options. You could put another piece of Empress International here. That's totally fine. And so you know, even though it was a guaranteed drop in the previous season, it is now in the general loot pool, so you could farm for it anywhere holsters are the targeted loot. Next, we have the second piece of Empress International, which are the knee pads. That gives us that 10% skill damage, and as we make our way to the gloves, it's the first piece of Hannah U, which is going to give us a 10% skill haste bonus, and moving on to the bag, it is the named bag Force Multiplier, which is by far one of the best bags to use for a skill build in the game. And that is because of the talent Perfect Combined Arms, where shooting an enemy increases skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. And when you combine that with the talent on the chest and the talent on the weapon, you are putting out a ton of damage. Like, it's absolutely insane. Now, as far as my skills are concerned, I'm using my 2 favorite for a skill build, which is the Assault Drone and the Assault Turret. However, whatever skills you want to use for this build, my friends, it is totally up to you. Now, at this point in the video, I do want to take a few minutes and go over some tips for new and returning players to really help you out when you're trying out a new build. And one of the things I usually say at the beginning of the video is I want to remind you that, these build videos are just a template. This is one of so many different ways you can run with a build like this. The most important thing is to take your time and really put something together that suits your game style. Therefore, as I always say, try out different variations of a build. I mean, the one I'm using here, as I showed you, I'm using glass cannon, and that took me a while to get used to because I typically run with kinetic momentum. However, when I made the switch, I had to get adjusted to the fact that I was taking 50% more damage anytime I was out of cover, so there was that kind of, learning curve with it. But once I got it down, I did enjoy it, so again, try out different things, my friends. One thing I recommend anytime you're trying out a new legendary build is try it out in the summit at first. That way it's a more close quarters environment. You can get used to the thing, see how it responds to you and your gameplay, and at that point you can really make a determination of what you want to change and what you want to keep. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this also absolutely shreds heroic content. You can see him at a control point dealing with rogue agents, and you're just melting through them. It's so much fun to use. So again, whether you're hitting up legendary in the summit or, your regular legendary mission in a group or a control point on your own, it absolutely melts. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family we have at the channel. So as always, if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know in the section down below, as the main goal is to help out as many people as we can. On that note, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.